What it do, YouTube crew? It's your boy Gary here, coming at you live from New York. It's Saturday night. I'm not joking. Welcome to Team Building Tuesday, episode 14, ladies and gentlemen. We are taking on a tier that apparently just got started this year in 2018. It is an additional tier. Not one of the main tiers, as you'll see here, but what we're looking at today is going to be in your other metagames category, ZU. It is essentially below PU, but it's not Little Cup. It's basically it's zero use. It's basically any Pokemon. Go ahead and go to the page here. It's basically any Pokemon that does not basically have any kind of usage in PU, which is surprisingly a lot of Pokemon. As you can see here, just go on to Smogon's page. They basically talk about all the different Pokemon you can't use. Basically, all these Pokemon here are Pokemon that are solely used mainly in PU. And then you have the ZUBL, all the Pokemon that are below PU, but they're above ZU. So mainly you can only use these Pokemon in PU. Moving on. Basically, it's just zero used. I've never played this tier before, so that's why I have the viability rankings page open. So I have the page for ZU open, and that's basically also why I have a team already built. I just don't know anything about the tier. I've never played in the tier before in my entire life. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do some research, and I wanted to understand what it is that I could do in order to make a team that could work really well in the tier without ever even being a player in the tier. I know that sounds weird and that kind of sounds stupid, but that's just kind of how I rolled. I wanted to do something unique. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do a metagame that I don't really ever do. I wanted to do a metagame that's not on this main page right here. I wanted to do all these like dozens and dozens of other metagames over here. It's just that the problem with these other metagames on this page, they just don't have as much relevance as these metagames. There's not that many people playing these metagames. I actually wanted to do another monotype, but I figured that's going to get really old real quick. If I'm going to do monotype, and I do plan on doing a monotype for every single typing out there. That's 17 typings, I believe. And we've already done Rock, Steel, and Psychic. So only 14 more types to go. But I didn't want that to be just what Team Building Tuesday is. It's not Monotype Monday. It's Team Building Tuesday. We build teams here for all the tiers. So I just went ahead and we built a team for ZU, and we're going to go over it real quick. We have our boy Stoutland, who is S tier. He's one of only 2 Pokemon that are S rank in the ZU tier. Typical Stoutland set is something that I actually saw a lot in PU. Stoutland actually did have a very prominent spot in PU, but I guess he fell from that spot and now is unfortunately in ZU. But at least he is the top ranking Pokemon in ZU. So that's very good. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you, buddy. So we got Kaizer, Choice Banded, Scrappy, so we can hit all those pesky little ghost types with our Stab Return. We got Superpower here for all those Rock and Steel types that are going to resist our Stab, and we can still hit ghost types with it. Probably hit a Deblade or maybe a Hone Edge with some super effective damage. I don't know what all the ghost types are in here because, like I said, I haven't played the tier yet. But we got Pursuit so we can trap Psychic types, and then we got Facade in case we get burned or paralyzed or something like that, just so we can actually have something that doubles in power essentially, and it will inevitably become stronger than Return, because I think Return at max happiness only does about 102, but Facade, while you're burned or you're status or something like that, goes all the way up to 140 or 120. It says doubles, so I assume it just goes right to 140, but that seems pretty crazy, so I'm saying 120, kind of giving it a low ball here. But yeah, we're rocking max speed, max attack, Adamant Nature, so anything that I hit hard. I want this thing to destroy. Whatever gets put in front of Stoutland, anything that gets put in his food bowl, he is going to demolish it. You pop open a can of maybe some Steelix or something like that, and I promise you he's going to eat that thing alive. But he is our heavy hitter. I like him on the squad. He's the person we started with. And we have Jackie Chan, a shiny Monferno right here, holding the Firium Z, Iron Fist ability, Rocking Swords Dance, Flare Blitz, Mach Punch, and Close Combat. Really only here just because we needed sort of a more fast physical attacker. I don't know what the speed tiers are like, but I'm pretty sure Monferno is going to be one of the more faster Pokemon in the ZU tier. Even if we're unsure, we can always damage calc it. We can always Mach Punch things, get that Iron Fist boost. Iron Fist only benefits the Mach Punch, but I'd rather have Iron Fist over Blaze any day. So I like that. Close Combat, strongest stab, and Flare Blitz is our other strongest stab for our fire typing. Swords Dance just so we can blow things away, and Firium Z just so we can have a huge hit pop off when we need it to. Really just the only reason that's priority, I guess, is the only reason this Pokemon is here. Then we have Faceplate, the Bronzor. You guys know I'm a big fan of using Bronzong. You guys saw that in the last follow-up to Team Building Tuesday, where we had a nice live session of battles in the Monotype Steel tier, and I was adoring our boy Bronzong. So I decided to go with Bronzor, the pre-evolution, smack it up with an Eviolite, give it Toxic Psywave. I don't know why Psywave is exactly on there. I might change that. It does random damage equal to 0.05 times 1.5 times the user's level. So I might change that to a different move. I might swap that out for something like Future Sight. I'll do some battles. I'll definitely do some battles, and if I feel like Future Sight is just a better option overall, or maybe even Extrasensory, or Psychic, or any other good Psychic type attack besides Psywave, then I'm definitely going to go with it, because I'm not really into the whole random thing, because it's either going to multiply my attacks, or like completely cut my attack in half. So we might just have to change that. These are all based on suggestions anyway, all of this. So honestly, I might end up just going with something like Psychic or Psyshock. But I'm definitely feeling Future Sight. Future Sight is just, it's not something that I'm not against. It's not something that I'm not against. I'm going to go ahead and just plop it on there. We'll keep Psywave. We're gonna keep Psywave for now, just so I can hold myself true to my promise. Max special defense. I love having it as a special defensive wall. My defense is pretty tight. And Psywave, I guess, is just here. I guess that's the reason why we run with Psywave, just so we have a chance of getting actually good attacks off. Just because our special attack stat is kind of booty. It is straight nothing but booty. Big old fat booty. But Faceplate is here. Faceplate is now. He's basically just our huge special defensive wall. Up next, we have Digress, the Silvally-Dragon, holding the Dragon memory card or disc with the RKS System ability, the only ability he has. Defog, Draco Meteor, Flamethrower, and Parting Shot. This Pokemon I'm a little bit more on edge about, I guess I could say, because of the fact that it's very mixed. It's very defensive, but it tries to be, its moves suggest that it wants to be offensive, when reality sets in and you're just like, oh, wait a minute. Those stats over here don't suggest special attack, it just suggests defensive. However, my moveset suggests offensive. It's really weird. I've never really been one that's into using Silvally, but I felt like in this scenario it might actually come into play, or it might actually be beneficial to me, just because it's decently fast. It can parting shot around, maybe get some slow parting shots around. I felt like it was a reliable Pokemon to have Defog, so we can get rid of hazards on our side of the field if need be. And just also for sticky webs from Shuckles are going to be a bit of a problem because my team is already super duper slow, and I'm not really trying to have that be a huge issue for me. Let me see. Okay, so and Draco Meteor and Flamethrower are just there just so they can be moves that pop off really hard hits. That's basically it. Basically, this is just here for ice types or steel types. Steel doesn't really do that much work on my team now that I think about it, because not only do I have a Flamethrower user, I also have Jackie Chan and Kaizer here that can hit steel types pretty hard. Really, it's just here because I needed a slot filled, and I also don't even know why I named it Digress. I don't know why I did it. Don't ask me these things. I don't know. Moving on, we have Mandark. Dexter's Laboratory reference there. If anybody gets it, let me know in the comments below. Who is that character? Who is Mandark in Dexter's Laboratory? Tell me! Holding the choice specs because, of course, more of a reference to Mandark. Holding choice specs, but got the Analytic ability. Basically, this just means that if I'm the last like person to move, which I'm typically going to be just because of the fact I don't even know why I have speed investment if the whole point is for me to have analytic and go last. But I'm actually probably just gonna put most of this in my HP and then put the rest of that in my physical defense, just because I know I'm not gonna be taking really any good hits. But yeah, we're just gonna put that there. Psychic, Signal Beam, Thunderbolt, Trick really just hits a lot of different things for a lot of good damage. Psychic, because of course it's my only stab. I need it. It's pretty much required to have at least some kind of stab on at least one of your Pokemon, and Psychic is the best option there. Signal Beam because it deals with other Psychic types and Dark types, which are going to pose a problem for me. But the only real problem I see with that is that I would typically not try to leave in Mandark on a Pokemon that is a Dark type and have it completely body me, because if I look over here real quick, I'm just going to move on over here. Say I'm Monferno, who's a fighting type, I could body you with a Psychic, is going to completely demolish me with a Flare Blitz or something. I'm looking for Dark types, doesn't appear to be any super prominent Dark types in the tier. Pawniard. See, Pawniard's a problem because he takes almost no damage from a Signal Beam. Let me actually look that up. I believe I don't do anything to you. So I believe if it comes to Pawniard versus Beheeyem, we're going to be in a bit of an issue. Beheeyem, oh my gosh, I don't know how to spell any of these Pokemon's name. Beheeyem, just assume that it's Nasty Plot. Okay, hold on a second. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're going to go ahead, copy and paste this to here. Thank you. Beheeyem, Mandark, Pawniard, Physical Attacker, holding that Eviolite. Yeah, my Signal Beam does a hell of a bunch of damage. However, and unfortunately, a knockoff from a much faster Pokemon is definitely going to be able to outspeed me, even with 44 speed EVs invested into it. I don't come anywhere close to outspeeding him, so there's really no point to even run those speed EVs. However, it's a chance that it doesn't knock us out, but with Stealth Rocks on our side, it's a guaranteed OHKO. So we have to be really careful. We have to be really careful in those terms. However, Signal Beam does definitely knock them out. Thunderbolt also definitely knocks them out, which brings me to my next point. Goodness gracious, don't do this. Okay, all right. So Thunderbolt is basically there for a lot of the prominent water types in the tier. I recognize that there is Pokemon like Marini that does go down to my Psychic. There are Pokemon like Chatot, flying types, that go down pretty easily to it. Pokemon like, let's say, what's another good example? Semi-Poor, Silvally-Water. Those guys take pretty heavy damage from a Thunderbolt. I feel like Rotom Fan could even take some damage, but he's electric type, so it's going to take neutral. Shift Tree gets bodied by a Signal Beam. Silvally-Dark gets bodied by a Signal Beam, or at least it should. Silvally-Dark, and you pursue Trapper. He's definitely going to outspeed us, and he has a 6.3 chance to OHKO. 6.3 chance to OHKO, so that's not a great big deal, but it could definitely hurt. Our Signal Beam is definitely going to completely body him, though. So it's really a game of just being very careful. I don't usually tend to like using Beheeyem, simply because it's one of those Pokemon that, in order to be used to the fullest, it hits really hard. When it gets the chance to hit, it hits so incredibly hard. Base 383 special attack. I mean base 125 special attack, but at level 100, Modest Nature, max EVs, 383 special attack. That's insane. So it undoubtedly is a Pokemon that can completely demolish any Pokemon in front of it. However, the biggest drawback to it is that its speed is ungodly low. It is abysmal. It's literally in the dirt, below the dirt, at the Earth's core, how low that speed is. 40 base speed. It's atrocious. And worse with that, it has abysmal defenses. Not like the worst defenses I've ever seen. I've seen some pretty terrible defenses. Like if I came over, look, Monferno's defenses are worse. But however, Monferno is also very fast and hits hard. So he doesn't really have to worry about it. However, not only is Beheeyem really, really slow, but its defenses are not all that great. Meaning, most of the time, it's going to be taking hits, and it won't get the chance to deal that damage back out. It's basically a glass cannon, in a sense. I guess, I don't know if that's the right term to be used for that, because that typically indicates something that's very, very powerful, but while while using it, you hurt yourself. So that would be more of a description of Darmanitan. However, Beheeyem isn't really like that. It's similar to that, but it's not 100% like that, so I take that statement back. I revoke my own statement. However, just going on with the general idea that Beheeyem is just going to be a Pokemon that's going to be very, very difficult to work with, just due to the fact that it has horrible defenses and horrible speed. But we're going to try and make it work. So moving on to our last Pokemon, we have OG Perp. Typically, I would name my Venomoths OG Perp, thanks to my Nuzlocke series. But this time, I decided it was more appropriate for Muk. He is OG, and he is purple. He is, in fact, the OG. Typically, nowadays, as soon as Alolan Muk came out, the original Muk just vanished. He vanished. He straight up disappeared from the face of the earth. And that's mainly just due to the fact that this Pokemon cannot lose its Helium due to another Pokemon's attack. That might actually come in handy. Basically, when Alolan Muk came out, it shoved the original Muk off to the side and made him essentially useless. Because Alolan Muk is basically the original Muk. It's just got the dark typing added to it. Other than that, it has Alchemy, which is only good for VGC battles, but then it still has Poison Touch. So it essentially still has the same abilities as the original Muk, but it has a better typing. Poison and Dark basically mitigates any and all weaknesses that it had to only one, ground typing. It's completely immune to the psychic typing. It takes neutral damage now from fairy typing instead of just no damage, resisted damage. But I mean, that doesn't really matter. The stats are essentially the same. Therefore, Alolan Muk just proved itself to be a better Pokemon just due to its typing. So then the original Muk just got shoved literally all the way to the bottom to the most appropriate tier it could have landed in. 0 use. This Pokemon doesn't get used at all. And for literally weeks, I've just been thinking to myself, man, I feel so bad that this Muk just doesn't get any kind of attention. He doesn't get anything. He also doesn't have a nature. What are we doing? I'm going to go ahead and give him an Adamant Nature. Or maybe I should give him... Let's give him a Careful Nature so we can boost that special attack just a little bit. I'm not really too concerned about having really, really high attack stat. I mean, my attack stat is already high. 309, that's not that bad. That's respectable. So we're going to keep it like that. We just want a little bit more investment in our special defense. So we're going to go with Careful Nature. But yeah, basically, he's just here to rock out with Gunk Shot, Shadow Sneak, Fire Punch, and Explosion. Pretty much putting us at the brink where Steel types are not going to be an issue. We have 4 Pokemon that have access to moves that deal with Steel types very, very well. Honestly, I think OG Perp's going to really do well for us because it's going to counteract a lot of... He's a special defensive wall, and I know we already have one in terms of faceplate, and it would probably be better if we had a physically defensive wall, but I feel like in the tier that we're in, there's not many Pokemon that present a physical threat. You have Pokemon like Gramble, and you have Pokemon like Machoke, and you have Pokemon like Lurantis, you have Pokemon like Bouffalant, but the thing is, with those Pokemon, I have means to answer. I have answers for those Pokemon. Like, for instance, let's go back to the damage calculator. Let's pull up Bouffalant. Yeah, just call it PU Choice Band. Hits really, really hard. Let's put him up against maybe Stoutland. PU Choice Band. I naturally outspeed him, and I can go for a Superpower and completely demolish a Bouffalant. However, if we have a Bouffalant with Choice Scarf, he outspeeds us and hits us back with a Head Charge. However, Head Charge does not kill us, and we can fire back with a Superpower. So we have answers. I feel like we genuinely have answers for most of the Pokemon in the tier. Go ahead and just validate real quick to make sure we're set. We are. Go ahead and just delete these other things because we don't really need them right now. So guys, I wanted to thank you for checking out today's video, going over our team for the ZU tier. Definitely tune in for when we actually follow up to this. Hopefully that it's a tier that has enough of a following in it to where we can have good consecutive battles, and I don't have to do a whole bunch of cutting just to get to another battle, yada yada yada, like with the cap tier. Oh, that was miserable. But like I said, I just wanted to thank you guys for checking out today's video, and I will definitely check you all later. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below telling me what sets and Pokemon teams and tiers you would like to see me utilize and use and be a part of. Have yourselves a good day, and I'll definitely check you guys later.